All right, hey again, everyone. Channel Futures Editorial Director Craig Galbraith here. Another episode of Channel Futures TV. Super excited today to be talking about Sophos MDR. Joining me are Stacy Whitley, Senior Channel Account Executive with Sophos. Hi, Stacy.
Hi.
And Russell Wyatt, President of PC Techware, a managed service provider based in Augusta, Georgia, that has worked with Sophos for 10 years or so. Russell, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
Glad to have you here. Doing well myself. So, Stacey, let me start with you. Why Managed Detection and Response, or MDR? Why is it so hot right now?
Well, we refer to it sometimes as cybersecurity as a service. There's actually a recent study from Gartner that by 2025, which is just next year, crazy, that over 50% of organizations are going to be leveraging MDR. So it's a huge opportunity specifically for MSPs looking to outsource that piece of their managed services.
Awesome. So, Russell, excited to bring you in here today to get that MSP perspective. You know, many in our audience are probably looking to add MDR or some type of SOC as a service. What things do you think they should take into consideration? And to that end, what was it that stood out for you with Sophos?
So Sophos just stood out with their simplicity. It truly is as a service product. We don't have to have that immediate expertise. It's just a matter of deploying the agent, getting the platform stood up, and then, we don't have to staff our people 24/7, 365, and we just immediately have that expertise. So if we have any turnover or there's just new threats out there, it's just one less thing to keep up with, and it's truly just selling it as an outsourced service and gets us that immediate expertise. There's no ramp up time, and we can just immediately deliver that service, and just really allows us to scale well.
Makes sense. So what is your process then for handling security incidents that are detected by Sophos MDR? Maybe you could walk us through a typical incident response scenario.
Sure. Well, the beauty of it is it's truly as a service. So once we install the agent and get the environment set up, there are, and Stacy can remind me what the three things are, but we basically have the full service option where we authorize them to respond and react. So let's say there's a cybersecurity event happens at 3 a.m. on Christmas Eve. We just basically get a report saying, here's what happened, here's what we did, it's taken care of, no action needed. And that's typically the few alerts we've gotten, that's been the result. It's really just a true turnkey as a service product.
Simple. I'm sure the MSPs watching enjoy hearing that. So, Russell, since I know Sophos has different levels of response modes for MSPs, can you share which one that you adopted and why?
Yep. So we did the highest one. I think it's authorize and respond. Is that correct?
It's authorize. Yeah. It can either be collaborate or authorize. And Russell chose authorize because it is a managed service by Sophos. So he's leveraging us to the fullest, which is amazing. So he can sleep better at night, have more hours in his day. But that basically means that, yes, Sophos cybersecurity experts are there 24/7, 365. If there is an active threat, we are handling it on his behalf, but we share with him reports, what's going on. He has the visibility as our MSP partner.
And is that what you found to be useful, Russell?
Yeah, it really gives us peace of mind as the MSP. The old way of doing it, we had a significant amount of resources internally managing the agents, reacting, going through, the EDR days, look at those reports, analyzing them, seeing what we need to do. And now it's just extremely proactive and, just allows us to much better scale our operation and just lets us look better to our clients. We look like we have a team, I can't imagine what the cost is, just to staff a SOC and then just to maintain it. So that ROI on that investment, because you can start with an MSP, we're about 750 endpoints, but you can start with one endpoint and your cost, scales out, and you don't have that initially. Suppose you're an MSP, you start out with one client, you've got, $1 million plus cost just for your SOC, versus you have that out of the gate for a fraction of that cost, and it just allows you to scale.
Yeah, so Russell, many MSPs struggle in how to position the need for MDR to their end customers. How do you approach that? How do you get that message across?
So when we're selling to our customers, we don't typically give them a choice. We kind of have an all or nothing approach to cybersecurity and managed services. We don't give them a buffet menu because you don't go to your doctor and say, hey, I know you want to do X, Y, and Z, but I only want to do X. The doctor's going to say no way. And we have that approach because you can't compromise on cybersecurity. You can't say, oh, I want this, but I don't want backup and I don't want this. So we don't have an a la carte approach. We do an assessment on the client and then propose a solution because we're not a commodity. We're a managed service and professional service. So we just sell it that way. And, they don't necessarily know what they're using all the time. They see the Sophos. We talk about Sophos a lot. It's a big part of our solution stack. And we talk about it at length, but most of the clients don't even know what that is, but they know that for cyber insurance, it's a requirement nowadays. In regulated industries, MDR is a requirement. So we don't give them a choice. Sophos has some other products and, EDR and a step back from MDR, but we don't sell anything but MDR. It's the only way to do it for a managed services client.
All right, so let's talk case study here. Do you have any examples of maybe where you successfully managed security for a rapidly expanding organization?
I mean, yeah, we've had some clients that have really grown with us. So, they'll start out 1 to 2 users, and then within a few years, they're up to 50. And, with that, again, it's all a cloud-based platform. It's just a matter of as we deploy devices through Azure AD and deploy the Sophos agent, it just allows us to grow. During COVID, when we had work from home, we quickly deployed our RMM tool. We deployed, then we had Sophos endpoint and device encryption on all their devices overnight. So again, it gives us the whole landscape and control, and again, just allows you to scale.
Excellent. So, Stacy, let's bring you back in here. How does the audience watching this learn a little more about Sophos MDR?
So we have a whole team here, so we can do demos, we can dive in, we can chat one-on-one. They can reach out to me directly. They can find me on LinkedIn or stacy.whitley@sophos.com. And as Russell said, Sophos, we don't have any minimums. So we don't care how big or small the opportunity is. We want you to think Sophos. And we've got partner programs and pathways for MSPs, resellers, telecom agents, whatever you're calling yourselves these days. I'm sure we've got a program for you. So don't be shy and reach out.
Absolutely. Stacy and Russell, thanks for your time today on Channel Futures TV.
Thank you.
Thank you.